Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen. The surge in coronavirus continues in Kern County as our health officials tackle the massive backlog of tests. We're learning more people are getting sick from the virus. About 2 hours ago, Public Health reported 1,135 new cases of coronavirus in Kern. That means more than 12,000 people have tested positive since March. More than half are considered active cases. No new deaths were reported today. The death toll still stands at 115 since the pandemic began here in Kern County. Meantime, an alarming situation for our local hospitals. Health officials say they are at max capacity. They're currently preparing to implement surge plans. Kern Public Health says 158 people are isolated in the hospital with coronavirus. However, there are more people in the hospital with the virus. The state says there are more than 200 patients. Our county public health department says the state tracks every patient in the hospital that's tested positive for the virus. That means they could be in the hospital for other reasons, but still have the virus. Meantime, tomorrow, local businesses in several industries must either modify their services for the outdoors or close down. Kern's back on the state's monitoring list, and that means new restrictions go into effect tomorrow. Indoor operations must stop at the gyms and fitness centers, places of worship, personal care services such as salons and barbershops, shopping malls, and entertainment venues. This morning, Public Health Director Matt Constantine talked about those new restrictions.
We are still awaiting the governor's order, so we need to preface our comments based on awaiting their formal notification and the order on Kern County. So just again to go through the list, fitness centers were identified by the governor. No indoor fitness centers should be open. Places of worship, churches in particular, not allowing indoor services. As Ryan has mentioned before, indoor protests are on the list. Offices for non-critical infrastructure. So this is the list that the governor put out months ago that we used to reference. So those sectors are identified on the governor's website as critical and non-critical. So those offices related to non-critical for indoor could not be open. Personal care services that goes into detail about massage, nails, and hair salons and barbershops are also listed, not allowing indoor services. And then, as you mentioned, Eitan, indoor malls are listed. So I think we will go through that and try to apply it locally because there is confusion. But that's what we do. We have a call center ready to take questions.
Constantine also said the county's not enforcing these new restrictions, but the state is and has set up a strike force to check for compliance. The city of Bakersfield is offering special events permits so businesses can set up shop outside. With a permit, some may be able to operate on the sidewalk, in a parking lot, or even on a city street. It takes about 5 business days to complete the process of getting a permit and costs $86. We also learned this morning more about the new surge testing site coming to Bakersfield. Constantine said the federal government will contract with eTrue North, which will deploy between 1 and 3 testing sites locally. One site has already been signed off on by the state. These sites will have self-contained labs, and officials believe the turnaround time for getting test results should not exceed 48 hours. Congressman Kevin McCarthy told 17 News yesterday that the self-contained labs, staffed by a team of federal technicians, will be capable of processing 60,000 tests a week. Court watch now. A former teacher's aide accused of committing a lewd or lascivious act with a child was sentenced this morning. Steve Gonzalez was 45 when he was arrested in February 2019 after being accused of engaging in sexual conduct with a child. At the time, he worked as an aide in a special education class at Hart Elementary School in Bakersfield. Gonzalez was sentenced to 1,140 hours of community service and must register as a sex offender for at least 20 years, but he'll spend no time behind bars. Prosecutors say the plea deal was made after consulting with the victim's family. Police said the victim did not attend the school. Bakersfield police need your help finding a missing 17-year-old girl, Kaylee Holland. She disappeared on Tuesday near Via Hermosa Drive and Via Carmel Way in Southwest Bakersfield. If you have any information on where she may be, call police at 327-7111.
All right, let's take you outside, and we've got a little bit of a haze out there this afternoon. That will be the case because our air quality is not the best. And before we get to our local forecast, you know, we've been watching the tropics. It's become a little bit busy, and we're going to talk about the Pacific, and we've been talking about named storms and where we're at. We're at Douglas right now, and we're still tracking this storm. It is a Category 3 storm. It will continue on as a Category 3 and then die out to a 2 and a 1. It's going to be a Category 1 as it makes its way towards the Big Island and then kind of die on out. I don't see any major issues for the Hawaiian Islands. They will see a high surf, some rain, and some gusty winds. And then by Tuesday, it's well off to the west of that. Then we're tracking in the Atlantic. We've got another named storm, and that's Gonzalo. This storm right now is a tropical storm. It will become a Category 1 as it passes by Venezuela, and then it'll continue to the west, passing just to the south of Cuba. Here at home, we've got clear skies, 84 degrees with a light wind out of the west-northwest at 10 miles per hour. We should be right around 98 this time of year. Our record set back in 1931 when we hit 114 degrees. They can keep it. We don't want to see temperatures like that anytime soon. Here's where we sit right now. 82 in Buttonwillow, 80 to the north in Delano. We've got 76 in Frazier Park, 81 in Tehachapi, and 86 in Lake Isabella, already in the lower 90s out of Ridgecrest. The satellite and radar for California, we've got this area of low pressure we're tracking. It is going to move east today, but we're getting the remnants of it in terms of some cooler air making its way onshore. We've got some clouds along the coastal areas as well for the rest of the day. We even saw a little bit of drizzle along the central coast. In terms of thunderstorms, those are starting to relax a bit. There's just a little sliver here along the Sierra Crest. Most of the activity will remain east of California today. Daytime highs, 93 in Sacramento. We're looking at 60s out in Morro Bay, 70 in Los Angeles. San Diego, a nice day at 73, and a little bit cooler out of Vegas and Phoenix, 104 in Vegas, 100 in Phoenix, Arizona, so an 8-degree drop there. Then this is all coming to an end as we get closer to the weekend. High pressure that's just to the east is going to retrograde to the west. What does that mean? Yes, another warm up in triple digits. We'll be back into our forecast. Today, our pollen sits at 5.1. That's in the moderate range. Our air quality is unhealthy for sensitive groups. Your AQI today at 108 and our UV index still high at 11. Here's a look at the high temperatures. We should be right around 94 in Bakersfield today, 95 in Delano. On the west side, Taft at 93. Light winds into the mountains. Look for that wind today out of the south, 10 to 20. Pine Mountain Club at 75. Tehachapi at 84. Bear Valley at 80. And then for the Kern River Valley, we'll be right near 92 for Lake Isabella. Into the desert, Ridgecrest finally getting that cool down. You've been around 108. Today, 100, so you're right near your high for the day, and 94 in Mojave. Here's your extended forecast tomorrow. We're right back up, 98, and then by the weekend, by the end of the weekend, we'll be near 100, and yes, unfortunately, right near 102 by next Tuesday and Wednesday. Take a look at the mountain forecast. We're looking at 80s through about Sunday. Lower 90s return Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, overnight in the 50s and 60s. And then for the Kern River Valley, a slow warm-up for you as well. And by next Tuesday, Wednesday, we're flirting with 100 up in the Kern River Valley. So enjoy the 94 we've got out there today because it's out of here tomorrow.
It'll feel nice
yes.
by then.
All
right. Thanks so much, Kev. Applications for unemployment benefits rose last week for the first time in 4 months. According to the Labor Department, filings for jobless benefits rose to 1.4 million as some states rolled back reopenings because of the coronavirus pandemic. Some economists expected initial claims to rise by 1.3 million. It marks the 18th straight week in which initial claims rose by more than 1 million. Before the pandemic, the number of weekly applications had never exceeded 700,000. Officials say roughly 30 million people are currently receiving unemployment benefits. A drive-in fundraising event for the Wounded Heroes Fund was so successful last week that organizers are already planning another one, and you get to help pick the movie. The Wounded Heroes Fund announced that its Stranded at the Drive-In fundraiser is now planned for August 21st. They'll screen a movie at the Kern County Raceway. The first event featured Grease, and it sold out very quickly. Tickets will go on sale next Monday, and within 2 weeks they'll announce what the movie will be. There will be food trucks, popcorn, ice cream, and other snacks available. The Wounded Heroes Fund says it's also considering hiring a live band to play before the show. Have to get tickets for that one. It sounds like so much fun. Welcome back. Finally at noon, after a 4-month delay due to the pandemic, Major League Baseball is back tonight. The defending champions Washington Nationals will host the New York Yankees tonight to begin baseball's abbreviated season. No fans will be in the stands, but there will be plenty of eager eyeballs watching. Infectious disease expert and member of the National Coronavirus Task Force, Dr. Anthony Fauci, will throw out the ceremonial first pitch. To cap off baseball's big night, the Los Angeles Dodgers will host their bitter rivals, the San Francisco Giants. I know that Kevin and Alex will be watching that game intently. I know a lot of baseball fans are excited to see baseball back.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to KGET.com.